Hey guys, so today I am doing something a little bit different. I thought this would be a fun idea just because of how I do my swatch videos. So as you can see by the title, I'm doing a spring polish collection roundup. So I'm basically going to be going over all of the mainstream polish collections that I have reviewed so far this year. Because when I do my swatch videos, I don't really, I'd give you my favorite, but I don't tend to give like overall positive or negative opinions about the collection in general, just because I like to do those swatch videos just like these are the facts, make your own decision. And a lot of people do ask my opinions and they ask what I think about certain colors and stuff, and I don't want to include it in the swatch videos. I don't know why, I just would rather just lay it out factually rather than get like emotional about it. So I thought it'd be fun for every season, after all of the polishes have come out, after they've all been reviewed by me, to do a kind of roundup and just talk about my overall thoughts about each mainstream collection. Let me know what you guys think about it. This is kind of an experimental thing, but I'm going to start. So you can see this is like pretty much emptied behind me because I've got them all out on my desk. So I think I'm going to start with China Glaze because it's kind of closest to me. So the China Glaze spring collection this year was House of Color. There were 12 polishes, a good mix of finishes. There were a lot of jellies in this collection. I did have some major formula and thickness issues with a few of them. Not all. I'm trying to find which ones. I know these two, I would have to reference my video, but I know these two specifically, Chrome is Where the Heart Is and About Laying Out, were extremely gummy and thick for me. This one is a jelly finish, so jellies are kind of a little bit thicker anyway, but this was like, I can barely use it, thick and gummy. And Chrome is Where the Heart Is was also extremely thick and difficult for me. I will say though, I know a lot of people have reviewed these collections, and a lot of people I've seen review these collections and I've seen their swatches, and they don't seem to have the same issues as I did with these two polishes. This one, About Laying Out, I will say when I opened this one up, I had polish. Come on up here. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. So this one, About Laying Out, I will say when I opened this up, I had polish caked like all over the rings of the threads and all up inside of it and everything. And so this one definitely went, it had a rough journey here. And that probably contributes to how thick it was. I'm sure that all that polish built up in there let a lot of air in, and that's probably why that one was so thick. Chrome is Where the Heart Is, however, I was not like that at all. It was totally clean, but still almost too thick to use. I don't think that reflects the entire collection though. I think this just happened with mine. I bought these from an Instagram seller that I have been buying from for a while, that I can usually get collections like really, really early from her. But I have noticed that in the few times that I've gotten them really early from her, the formulas are kind of inconsistent compared to the general population. Once they get their polishes, the formulas are very different from the ones that I got. So as nice as it is to have the collections very early, I'm not so sure that it's worth it anymore, because I think that things are being tweaked and I'm not getting the tweaked bottles. My review doesn't reflect those polishes as a whole. So I think I'm going to have to like discontinue that practice, especially after these ones. There was a bright blue jelly in that collection that I really liked as well, Don't Be Shallow. This one wasn't as bad of a formula as About Laying Out, but I still found it a little bit difficult. Not terrible. That one is one that like I could work with. About Laying Out, I'll probably never touch again. There were two pastels in this collection that I did really like. Girls Just Want to Have Sun was a very, very, very light yellow, and Let's Talk About It is a very, very, very light pink. These formulas were not terrible. They were kind of what you would expect from a very, very light pastel color like this. They did turn out really nice on the nails after. Just not the easiest formulas on these ones either. Overall, this collection was kind of a flop for me, but I still think that the way that I got them might have contributed to that. There were two glitters in this collection that were a little more unique compared to what you usually see from mainstream brands. Moonlight the Night was a like blue base with a ton of iridescent glitter in it. This would look really nice over a dark base. Kind of lose it a little bit on lighter colors though. And then the one that I really, really liked was Glitter Me This, because I really, really like when mainstream brands mix their matte and metallic glitters. I like when they do indie inspired glitters, even though they're never like as good as an indie glitter topper usually tends to be as far as uniqueness goes. It is nice to see them playing around with it. So I like this. I just wish mainstream brands would do more Crellies, because I feel like we could get some really cool stuff out of Crellies from mainstream brands, but I can only think of none. I can think of like OPI's metallic based debacles, and then I can think of It's a Trapeze from China Glaze, and that's pretty much all I can think of. I wish they did more colors. Moving on to OPI's New Orleans collection. So the New Orleans collection was 12 polishes. OPI does a spring/summer collection, and then they do a ton of little collections in between spring and summer, I think to make up for the fact that they only have one large collection for the 2 seasons. I haven't reviewed the soft shades yet. I have the soft shades, I haven't reviewed them yet, so those aren't going to go in there. And Hello Kitty, I'm not going to put in there either. I'm just going to talk about the actual spring collection. This collection had some polishes that I really didn't like. Take a Right on Bourbon was a frosty silvery gold. I'm never really big on those. Let Me Buy You a Drink was another frostier, light, pinky purple color. And then Humidity was another light, frostier color. Not like frosty like this one, but they have some shimmer to them. And I was just meh about those ones. This one I really didn't like. Take a Right on Bourbon I really did not like. But the other 2 were just kind of meh for me. I will say though, this collection had some of the best creams that I've had from OPI in probably close to a year. I really liked the creams on these. The formulas were amazing. There were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creams in here that were just absolutely fantastic. The lighter, let's see, Susie Nails New Orleans, I really like the color. This one had a little bit trickier of a formula compared to the other ones, as well as got myself into a Jambalaya. It was also a little bit trickier because it was a lighter color. But these 5 right here were so like incredibly smooth and easy to work with, and the color payoff was great, and they just, I loved these. These were so good. Obviously my favorite is going to be Rich Girls and Po' Boys because I love blue, but formulas on these 5 were absolutely fantastic. So this is Rich Girls and Po' Boys, Spare Me a French Quarter, I Manicure for Beads, She's a Bad Muffaletta, and then the green here, I'm terrible, my hands are not working. The green here is I'm So Swamped. So these were fantastic. They like made the New Orleans collection for me. Oh, and I forgot about this one. This was Crawfishing for a Compliment. This one was a little bit trickier along with the lighter colors, but still really good. Just trickier than the 100% perfect ones that I just talked about. A lot of people also liked Show Us Your Tips, which was a blue, slightly purple with a silver shimmer. There was a similar one in the Zoya spring collection, but the Zoya one is lighter and a little bit more purple. So I'll talk about the whole Zoya collection here in a minute, but I did want to point that out because I just posted the Zoya video and I've had a lot of people ask. Next we have Essie. So even though I didn't include the soft shades from OPI, I am including the spring and the resort collections from Essie because the spring collection as a whole isn't like fantastic for me color-wise, but the resort collection was really good. So I'm going to include both so that I'm not just like pooping on Essie for this entire video. So the Essie Spring Collection had a kind of weirdly, unique mix of colors for a spring collection. There was like the typical light color, that like nudie color that you always get from Essie. There was another like Tarte Deco looking color, and your bright orange. The formulas were pretty good on this entire collection. I didn't have any issues with them. This one right here, Shade On. I've seen some people say it's Shades On, but my, I think I even saw Essie call it Shades On, but my label doesn't have an S at the end of Shades, so I don't know what that's all about. This is a lighter, maybe medium purple color, but this was completely opaque in one coat for me, which is kind of unheard of for this light of a color, especially it being Essie. So that was really good. Then I threw these 2 in here, which I like these colors a lot because they are so incredibly fall, but I also dislike them in a spring collection because they are so incredibly fall. First one is Off Tropic, is a dark, like almost black green, and then Poolside Service is, I don't even know how to describe this, like a slate bluey green color. Good formulas on these. If I remember correctly, I know this was a one coater, this one might have been as well, but they just don't fit with the spring collection. And when you stick them together, like with the whole collection, like it just doesn't look spring, it just looks off to me. Formulas are really good. Individually, I like the colors. Together as a spring collection though, not so much. But then Essie did their resort collection, and they do a 4-piece resort collection every year around springtime, and this was the, like, one of the best Essie collections I think I've seen in a really long time. I loved all of the colors, I loved the variety, and I love the formulas. So Deli Dance is this light pink here, fantastic formula, amazing color, perfect for spring. Namaste the Night is a blue, so obviously I love that. Going Guru is an amazing, like, in between mint and grass green, and then Taj Mahal is this really unique terracotta color. And these together look much more spring to me than the actual spring collection did. So I don't know. I don't want to hate Essie. I know so many people hate Essie, and I don't want to hate them, but they just keep doing stuff that makes no sense to me. I did really think that the Resort collection was a really, really good collection this year. I should have done this one first because I don't want to end the video like pooping all over Zoya, but it's totally going to happen. So the Zoya Petals collection is the next one. This is probably one of the most disappointing Zoya collections I've seen since I've been into Zoya and been paying attention to collections and been reviewing them. I just don't like it. Aster is this blue. I do really like this one, but I don't know if I like it just because it's the only one that's not pink or coral. Like that might be the only reason I like it. I don't know if you stuck this in with a good range of colors with some creams, if it would stand out to me, if I would like it that much. So I don't know. There was Leia, which is a pearlescent color shifting topper, which is meant to go over other polishes. I didn't like this over anything in the collection. I did like it better with 3 coats on its own, even with my nail line showing. And then you have these 4, which are so, like these 3 especially, are just way too similar to be in the same collection. Like, why would you do a 6-piece collection and 4 of which are like bordering on the same color family? And then the formulas on top of that. So Azalea had a pretty decent formula. Aster had a pretty decent formula, which I talked about. Cricket. And then you have these 3, Tulip, Zahara, and Laurel. Zahara wasn't terrible. It had a much stronger shimmer than the other 2. That's the other thing. Shimmer. All 6 polishes. Shimmer. I like shimmer, but I need shimmer in small doses. I can't take like all 6 polishes being shimmery. So I put Zahara away. These 2 especially had absolutely horrendous formulas. I shouldn't say that. The formulas felt good. They felt really good applying them. They felt really smooth. They didn't run. They weren't too thick, but they just did not want to build up. They were streaky after 3 coats, and I'm not doing more than 3 coats. Like, that's just, I would just pick something else rather than have to wait for, 3+ coats to dry. The formulas weren't great. They had a very slight shimmer, which does show up on the nail, which is nice. But, I mean, they were just sheer, and they were streaky, and they didn't want to build up, and they're, like, almost identical. And I just really did not like that collection at all. And Zoya is, like, one of my favorite brands ever. I mean, they have, like, some of my favorite polishes, Storm and Aurora, and that entire collection that they came out with 2 summers ago, Tickled and Bubbly, I have that that was before I was reviewing for them, and I bought that entire collection. I loved that collection. But this was just really, really bad. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for summer. I'm hoping that the summer stuff is going to be really good, but I'm just not thrilled with this collection at all. I have very few nice things to say about this collection, and I know a lot of that is just personal preference. It's just my taste. I don't tend to like shimmers. I don't tend to like corally pinks, and so the majority of the collection is it's a turn off for me because it's not my type of polish. But even that, I didn't really like the formulas on the 2 later ones, so I definitely should have started with those ones so that I didn't end the video on such a bad note. So I do have the Orly Spring collection as well. I have only swatched 1 polish, which I talked about in my, which is vintage, and I talked about that in my favorites for spring. I couldn't think of it for a second. And that was a really, really good formula, and I have heard really good things about the rest of the collection, but it is still sitting here, and I haven't gotten to it, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do a review on it or not, because we're already getting into summer stuff. So Orly collections always slip through my fingers before the season ends, and I feel bad about that because I feel like 3 Orly collections in a row, I've bought the whole collection and just haven't reviewed it. So I didn't include the Orly one, but I have heard really good things about it. I can't speak for myself because I have not swatched 5 out of the 6. So that is the Spring Polish Collection Roundup. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I would like to do something like this for indie brands, but I review so many different indie brands. I don't know. I mean, it would be like the longest video ever. So I will think about that. It's probably not going to happen for the spring, but I will try to keep that in mind for the summer version if I do a summer version. But I will definitely try to keep up with doing the mainstream ones. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.